Let's shift our attention to the United States. The world knows about America's military might. The US military has a global reach. It can demonstrate its power in any theater of conflict. But the same fighting force has a dark underbelly. And in the next few minutes, we will tell you about an expose that embarrasses the American military. The US operates multiple military bases in the Persian Gulf. In at least 4 bases, workers became victims of abusive labor practices. Who were these victims? Foreign workers, those who were hired by defense contractors. There is a long list of infractions. The details have been published by the Washington Post and the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. Let's tell you what these workers went through. They were prevented from leaving their homes or looking for new jobs. There were thousands of these migrant workers employed at these bases. Their passports were confiscated. They were saddled with massive debt. And they were denied release papers once they left. More than 30 current and former workers have blown the whistle. They made these complaints public in separate interviews. There are court documents that describe these abuses in detail. And as you read through these reports, the details of the crimes committed by the contractors only get more horrific. There are claims of labor trafficking. In the past 5 years, the Pentagon has responded to 176 cases. There were more workers who were trafficked. How many more? According to another report, thousands of workers were trafficked into labor. They were brought in by private contractors to the US bases. These contractors acted like middlemen. They promised lucrative jobs to these workers. And to get these jobs, the workers paid extremely high recruitment fees. In one of the cases, a worker paid as much as $10,000 for a job. You heard that right, $10,000. Many workers took on debt in search of a better life. But once they moved to work at the US military base, their nightmare started. Workers were forced to accept a salary that was less than what they were promised. They were pressured to sign improper contracts. They had to work long hours, and in some cases, they even faced physical abuse. Clearly, the military contractors were at fault here. But what about the role of the Pentagon? What did the US Defense Department do about this? Well, their response leaves a lot to be desired. The Pentagon acted in 176 incidents. This was between 2017 and 2021, but there were clearly more workers who needed help. In 2020, there were substantiated violations in more than 900 cases. Confirmed reports of military contractors abusing over 900 workers. But the Pentagon does not like sharing this information. In fact, they have not revealed the names of the contractors found guilty of violations, and this is despite repeated requests. How does the US Department of Defense respond to these reports now? The Pentagon has put out a statement. I'm quoting, "The Department of Defense promotes the US government's zero-tolerance policy on trafficking in persons. The department continues to work diligently on combating human trafficking because these activities violate human rights and harm our national security mission," quote unquote. Clearly, workers working for American bases deserve better. The US government has a responsibility to take care of them. Instead, they are becoming targets to what are clear violations of basic human rights. Yes, those same rights that the Biden administration promises to uphold time and again. President Joe Biden pledged to make the US government more accountable. He cannot fulfill that promise until he appoints the much-needed watchdogs to oversee his massive military force. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.